Gimenez of House Homeland Security, along with retired Major General Mick McGuire. He's the former U.S. National Guard Association chairman. It's great to have you both on. First, Congressman, let's deal with this before we move on to the Supreme Court hearings. Congressman, Reuters is reporting the European Union nations will not join in the embargo with the U.S. and U.K. against Russian energy. Why don't they take on U.S. energy to replace it?
Because the Biden administration won't allow them to take U.S. energy, because the Biden administration is waging a full-scale war against U.S. energy production. They'll go to Venezuela, they'll go to Iran, but they won't even talk to the people in Texas and Oklahoma and South Dakota about producing more right here in the United States, which we have the capacity to do. But the Biden administration is bent on not allowing U.S. energy production to ramp up, not allowing us to be energy independent, and not allowing U.S. oil and gas to be shipped to our allies so that they can supplant the Russians.
General, did you want to weigh in on this, General?
Absolutely. Congressman Gimenez is right. The radical left has taken over Biden. We could be a world leader in energy production. Think about the infrastructure bill, Liz. You cover the markets every day. Not a dime of it went to either our southwest border here in Arizona or any help to get pipelines and production back up. We could produce immediately, yet we're turning to some of our worst enemies like Iran to help us out while we're trying to have the Russians broker a deal. It makes no sense to me.
We hear you. Congressman, moving on to the Supreme Court nomination hearings, the opening statements were today. There will be more days of the hearings on this. Congressman, Republicans are tagging Judge Jackson as soft on crime, focusing on her work as a public defender, including defending 4 Guantanamo Bay detainees, also work on a sentencing commission, and the fight over her sentencing appearing to be lenient on those accused of child sex crimes. What was your reaction to today's hearings?
Well, I think, look, we need to look at what her philosophy is about the Constitution and how she will interpret the Constitution. You know, I am a strict interpreter. I like the Constitution to be interpreted, not a new law to be dictated by the Supreme Court. You know, it's up to us to dictate and to make the laws of the United States, the legislators. It's up to the Supreme Court just to give opinions on what the law means, not to create new law. And so my thing would be, what is she? Is she one of these, you know, it's a living, breathing document, so I'm going to make new law, which is not what she's supposed to be doing? Or is she one that's going to strictly interpret the Constitution? I think she's going to be, you know, the former. I think she's going to be one of those that wants to create law, not interpret law, which I don't believe that's her job. Yeah,
you know, to the Congressman's point, General, Senator Mitch McConnell is saying she's spent less than a year on the appellate court. She's a trial lawyer, but we don't have her appellate court record. She only weighed in, I think, authored 2 opinions. That's the issue. We don't know how she would stand on the Constitution, on the constitutional aspect of it. Right, General?
Yeah, you bet, Liz. And as you mentioned, I'm running for the U.S. Senate here in the great state of Arizona. I would call on my colleagues, my future colleagues, as we unseat Mark Kelly, to just ask one question. Does she believe that D.C. can enter the union as a state? The answer is no. As a strict constitutionalist, it requires an amendment to the Constitution. She's got a weak record. Defund police, abolish ICE, and now a completely open border policy. Biden has given in to the radical left, and that's what we're seeing in these nominations.
She'd be the first black female member of the Supreme Court, the first justice in decades with a public defender background and as a criminal defense attorney. There were fireworks today. To the Congressman's point, what he mentioned earlier about the far left bypassing Congress to go to the courts to get their policies enacted. That's what Senator Ted Cruz was talking about today. Watch this.
Our Democratic colleagues want the Supreme Court to be anti-democratic. Our Democratic colleagues get frustrated with the democratic process. When they can't pass gun control laws because the American people don't support them, they want unelected judges to mandate those same laws instead. Law after law after law that they can't get through the democratic process, the Democrats have decided it's much simpler to convince 5 lawyers in black robes than to try to convince 330 million Americans.
Sit tight for 1 second. Let's listen to Senator Tom Cotton. He's talking about what the general mentioned before about, you know, defund police and the positions about being weak on crime. Watch this.
we are witnessing a breakdown of society. There are many Americans who no longer feel safe today. Parents are scared to walk down the streets that used to be free from crime. In 2020, anarchists, rioters, and left-wing street militias raged across the country, and murders increased at the fastest rate in history. The Biden administration is committed to these soft-on-crime policies, like ending cash bail to create a catch-and-release system for violent criminals. The consequences are obvious. Skyrocketing violent crime, emboldened gangs, and drug overdoses reaching numbers never before seen in American history.
Congressman, how will the judge respond to that? Because this is what's at the heart of what Americans are feeling today.
Well, I'm not sure how she'll respond to it, but I'm afraid that how she's going to be adjudicating her opinions as a member of the Supreme Court. Look, I liken it to the prosecutors nowadays, the modern prosecutors over on the West Coast that refuse to prosecute crimes. You know, that they decide what crimes to prosecute and what crimes not to prosecute. That's not their job. You know, the legislators are the ones that pass the laws, and we're the ones that pass the laws. It's up to them to make sure that those laws, you know, are prosecuted. Yeah. That's the problem that I have with Supreme Court justices that try to create law instead of the ones that just interpret the law. Just like Ted Cruz said, you know, when the Democrats can't pass a law, they'll go to the judicial system and try to get them to pass the law for them. I think that's unconstitutional. That's what, you know, that's really what I'm interested about her.
We have a Monmouth poll. 55% say she should be confirmed. In general, she's endorsed by 91 state attorneys general, police unions, former prosecutors as well. But there's a big fight over Senator Josh Hawley's statement saying he can't find a single case of her time on the federal bench in which she sentenced a child porn offender to the recommended guidelines. Democrats are saying what he's saying is wrong. When you saw this, General, what was your reaction?
My reaction is exactly what I said before. They are soft on crime. The only day they were interested in law enforcement was when they called for the help of the Guard after the incident on January 6th. Only time the radical left has been interested in that. They vilified police. They have given, like Senator Cotton said, getting rid of cash bails has not made our communities safer. And I can tell you as a candidate right now, people are looking for safety and security.
Major General Mick McGuire. General, it's good to see you. Congressman Carlos Gimenez as well. Former Clinton